Poland, 28 countries in total, allied countries. The president started off his conversation with reporters there speaking about the massacre that took place in Dallas on Thursday night. He said America is not as divided as some have suggested. He went on to say that mass shooters do not define us or any one group. The president then moved on to some more global issues to address some of the guests there, the audience there. He talked about Brexit. He talked about the migrant crisis, and he also talked about the war against ISIS and how we're combating that. He went on to answer 5 different questions from reporters, really a host of issues there. The conversation beginning, obviously, about Dallas, but then going on to speak about other huge headlines this week.
Perhaps most interesting, though, to me was what he didn't say. And you go back to the very beginning of his statements about Dallas and about the police shootings. He used some pretty strong language in terms of what he called those shootings. And then he went on to talk about the 2 people who were shot by police earlier in the week, 2 African-American men, under what some have called questionable circumstances. Interestingly enough, he named both of those 2 men by name, never said the names of the 5 Dallas police officers shot and killed in the line of duty. People asked him what caused this shooting. He said, well, it's a troubled mind. I don't really want to go into it. The Dallas police chief had said very clearly what this shooter was motivated by. Also, the president didn't condemn any of the violent words and the violent protests we've seen, especially in Phoenix. There's reports of protesters shouting at police, "We should shoot you." Never heard any kind of condemnation from that or full-throated support of law enforcement and the job they do from the president.
He was also pressed, and if I'm not mistaken, I believe it was an AP reporter that asked him the question on whether or not he would continue on what he's been very vocal about, supporting gun control. And he said basically that he's going to keep talking, and that he may not be able to eliminate racial tension, these are his words, and perhaps eliminate every madman. But he did say, and he brought up the fact that perhaps men and women in uniform would have an easier job doing their jobs if there weren't weapons available to the public. And he used Dallas as an example, and then he also had said in Minneapolis there was a gun involved in that situation.
Right, the suspect who was ended up being killed by police, he did have a weapon on him. There was a lot of debate about that, but you kind of wonder if the president really thinks that more gun laws is going to be what solves this problem. You think about Chicago, that has some of the strictest gun laws in the country, has some of the highest crime rates in the country as well, a circle the president did not square. Bring in the political panel now. Dennis Kelleher,